Hello and welcome to the #2 fantasy surfing YouTube channel on the planet. Do not feel the need to go look how many there are. But seriously, I'm stoked to have you with me today. I would super appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit that notification bell. By doing that, you will ultimately be doing yourself a favor because I will update these picks after the elimination round. Now, whether that's a really quick turnaround into the round of 16 or a round of 32, if that's the case, I will post in the community tab. Check this out. Boom, posting updates right here. If there's more time, I'll make an actual video, but you're never left out to dry with me. This Portugal event is a very bad time zone for me, but I'm going to do my best to still have you in the know by the minute. In the description of this video, you can find these picks that we're making. You can find my power rankings. You can find event results from the past however many years here. Those are all resources for you to use. But today we're going to focus on predictions for the Supertubos event. Let's get into it. Starting with the women in Tier A, it's always so congested with the women. There's so much talent at the top, and this makes picking very hard because a lot of times this is going to make or break your lineup. In the last event, we had basically Molly Picklum versus Betty Lou all the way up. You probably had one of the two of them and were raking in buku points. If you followed me, you had Molly Picklum, and you had the most points on your power surfer. I should mention, if you're new to the program, these are our ranking symbols. We have blue for must-have, green is good value, yellow some value, orange not for this event, and red is injured or out. So, our first surfer here, ranked #1 in the world, and I really think she is, at this point, the best surfer in the world. We'll see when we get to some different conditions. The waves were really heavy in Hawaii, and she excelled there. We'll see how she does in all conditions. But I think Molly Picklum is your women's best surfer in the world right now. The last 2 years at Supertubos, she was 5th and 9th. Pretty dang good. I see a lot of value there. But I think someone has a little more, and that is Katie Simmers. I have her as must-have. She won the event last year. She also won in Saquarema, which both those are Portuguese-speaking countries. I don't know if that matters at all. She's very good in beach breaks, obviously. She's totally charging. She already won the pipeline event, and I think she is your must-have pick for the women. Betty Lou also in that top tier. Great surfer. She's been absolutely amazing this year. However, the last 2 years, 9th and 17th, that doesn't do a whole lot for me, so I'm going to stay off her. I think Katie is your best pick, and Molly would be a solid backup. Moving on to Tier B, Brissa Hennessy, very consistent last 3 years, 9th, 9th, 9th. I don't think you want any part of that. Obviously, she's great. Probably not the best for this wave. Caroline Marks, 9th last year. She won it the year before. Tons of value there. I'm probably going to pick her for mine. Same with Joanne DeFay. She wasn't in the event last year, but before that, the 2 years previous, she was 5th and 5th. A lot of value there. My must-have, though, for this tier is Tatiana Weston-Webb. Last year, 3rd. Year before, 1st. Year before that, 3rd. Those are solid results. She obviously loves it here. She's sort of Brazilian, and they speak Portuguese here. I don't know how Brazilian she is. It doesn't matter. She's really good on this wave, and you should probably pick her. I definitely am picking her. Isabella Nichols, couple of 9ths. I like her surfing here. You don't love those kinds of results, so for whatever reason, she hasn't done so well here. I'm staying off her. Luana Silva, not in the event last year, 9th the year before, doesn't do much for me. I don't think this wave really suits her either, so I'm staying off her as well. Lakey Peterson, oh my goodness, I forgot about Lakey. This might take Caroline off my middle tier picks here. You get 2 Tier B picks for the women, and I'm definitely picking Tatiana, and I think I'm going to take Lakey as well. 17th last year, obviously not great. 2nd the 2 years previous. This wave definitely suits her style, and I think she'll be very strong here. Tyler Wright, man, by her standards, she has not been good this year, and she's not been great at this wave. 17th last year, 5th the year before we would take, but I think there's better options out there. Same with Gabby Bryan. A lot of women consistently getting 9th here. Gabby, Brissa, and Isabella. I don't want any part of that, and neither do you. Moving on to Tier C, Sally Fitzgibbons. 5th, 9th, 5th the year before. That's solid. She's a good 3rd tier pick here. India Robinson, that's who I think I'm going with in this Tier C. I picked her as a top 5 finisher at the beginning of the year. She has not lived up to that thus far, but I think this is the event where she breaks out. Wasn't in the event last year. She wasn't on tour. 5th the year before. That's a good result. I'm taking her. I expect her to go far. 3rd place wouldn't surprise me here at all. Sawyer Lindblad and Alyssa Spencer, I don't know. I feel like I keep packaging these two together because they're very similar. There's some value there, and being that we've never seen them surf this wave before, you don't know what you're going to get. But this style of wave, I think, is good for both them. Just not the best option, in my opinion. Sophie McCulloch, this was the event last year. She missed the Hawaiian leg last year, and she came onto this event 5th place. Great. She was absolutely charging. Very strong wave for her. I wouldn't be surprised to see her break out here again. But remember, you only get one pick for this Tier C. At this moment, I'm going with India, but you never know. We'll see what happens with that opening and elimination round. And then I'm probably blowing this name. Francesca? I'm not sure. She is the wild card here. World Junior Champ in 2022. I looked her up. According to the WSL, she is 5'2", 114 pounds. Just a tiny 20-year-old. But she grew up a little over an hour away from this wave, and who knows? Maybe this is her spot. I'd put some value there. For some reason, I feel good about this pick. Still going with India, but not a bad way to go in that 3rd tier, and I don't think a lot of people will be picking her, so could be a point of difference, good or bad. Let's move on to the men. At the top, we have John Florence. How has he done here in the past? I'll tell you. We've done all this great research that you can look at right here, but I already did the research, and I made notes here, so we can have it quickly. 17th last year, we don't want any part of that. But look at these events, look at these results before. 3rd, 5th, 1st. Don't worry about that 13th. This probably isn't his best event, but John's going to be solid everywhere, and I feel like he's having a real career resurgence this year. A real solid pick. Jack Robinson, what did he do? 2nd last year, just lost out to Joao Chianca in the final. Am I being reactive if I make this pick, since he did just win Pipeline? Maybe, but I still feel like that's a strong pick. I think Jack's going to be my power surfer. We'll see. Baron Mamiya, 9th and 17th here. There's better options, I think. The guy's super talented. He could win any event on the calendar. I just feel like his execution has come into question, and I think he's getting better with that, but I'm not taking that risk at this event. Jordy Smith. Man, the guy has been on fire this year. I've underestimated him, have not picked him for either of the first 2 events. I wish I had this last one, but my research said no, and so I did not. 17th last year, not great, but a 5th and a 2nd the year before, I could take those results. Is Jordy back is the big question. I've gotten into a couple discussions with you in the comments in the past, and some of you think Jordy is back, or Jordy never left. I would say he left, but he's back. I don't know how he'll do at this event. He's not currently in my picked position, but we'll see how these first rounds go. Maybe he jumps in there. Connor O'Leary, 5th, 9th, 25th, 9th. Couple solid results in there. Looked great last year. I specifically remember him in the warm-up surfs before the event started when they actually had good waves, and he looked great. By the way, waves are not going to be great this year. They might have to move down the beach. We'll see what happens. But we're not going to worry about that. One way or another, they're going to run this contest. And Connor O'Leary is a great pick here, even in the top tier. I like him. Kanoa Igarashi, they're going to mention on the broadcast about 47 times how he has a home there, and he goes to this wave a lot. He's going to be very comfortable. 17th last year, I wouldn't worry about that when you have the 5th, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 3rd. However, I have beef with Igarashi, and that is that he always ruins my picks. Anytime I get high on Kanoa, he ruins it. The last couple years, I felt like he was really starting to fade away, but he's had a really strong start to the year, so maybe he's back as well. Kanoa and Jordy going for it. Great value. I'm probably going to stay off. Ethan Ewing, a 9th, a 17th, and a 13th. As my notes suggest, I think he could break out in the right conditions. I don't think those conditions are coming, though, so we'll see. Ethan is another guy who likes to punish me when I don't pick him, and I don't think I'm picking him here, so that might be a solid pick. Liam O'Brien, 17th last year. He's going to be solid on this wave. He would be a good pick. Out of this first tier, I'm not going to take him. I think I'm going to go with world number 1 and 2, John Florence and Jack Robinson, but you'll have to wait to the end of the video to see that. Moving on to this second tier, Ryan Callanan. Some decent results. 9th last year is his best, and he's a solid surfer who keeps getting better. Unfortunately for him, I think there are some really good picks in this tier, so we're going to move on and check those out. Ian Gentile, 9th last year. That was his first time. I see him having the skills to conquer this wave, which is why I have him as a good value. Still, I think there are better. People like Griffin Colapinto, 5th last year. He won the event the year before, 9th and a 25th. This guy is solid this wave, and he's had a slow start to the year. Expect him to come on very strong and do very well here. I have him as must-have. Jake Marshall, Leonardo Fioravanti, not a whole lot of value there. Maybe Leo being close to home, Europe, maybe he'll feel comfortable and do well there. But having not broken 17th place, I'm going to stay off him here. Italo Ferreira, man, I love this guy, and I think this wave is going to be good for him. Also, I think the Brazilians are going to have a resurgence. Brazil has not represented this year. The storm has been completely off. We've had sunny skies, no Brazilian storm in sight. I think that changes here. I think Italo is a must-have pick. He's won the event twice, had a second, had a third. I think it's go time for him. Seth Moniz, a couple 17ths and a 33rd. You don't want any part of that. Imai Kalani DeVault, 17th. I think that was 2 years ago. Anyways, I don't remember. And it doesn't matter because you're not picking him anyways. This just isn't his wave. Yago Dora, 3rd last year. Okay. He's my 4th and final pick on this tier. And yes, I'm very curious to see how he does in the opening round. But as of right now, I have him locked in. Miguel Pupo, 17th, 9th, 25th. He has a couple 5ths in there. Not a great start of the year for Miguel. And with that Brazilian resurgence, maybe he steps up here. But I had to make him green because I think there is a lot of value there. Not for me, though. Matthew McGillivray, same thing. Hasn't broken 17th. I'm not touching that. Jacob Wilcox, I just don't think this is his wave. I think he really could have broken out at Pipe. He's had some okay results, I guess, this year. I'm not picking him here. He'll have more of a chance when we get to the Australian leg, I think. Crosby Colapinto, 17th in the contest in 2019. Not a lot of value there as far as I can tell. Frederico Moraes. Man, I'm hating on this guy. He's going orange in his home country of Portugal. But just look at these results. 33rd last year. 9th isn't terrible. 17th, 9th, 9th. He had a 5th back in 2015. I don't think we're turning back the clock to 2015. If we are, I'll take credit for that. But, it is what it is. Sorry, Freddie. Callum Robson, I think that is I already said Yago was my 4th pick. But that with Callum being my 3rd pick. 3rd last year, 9th the year before. You will all remember his epic 10. I think that was just last year. It could have been 2 years ago. But regardless, I'm sure the WSL is blasting it everywhere for you to see. Great wave. Callum is a solid pick. Rio Waida. I don't remember this 5th last year for some reason. But that is a solid result. And I see him having a lot of good value here. So hop on the Rio train if you like. Let's move on to Tier C. Ramsey Bukaim, some value here. The guy is solid. I expect him to break out at some point this year, and, we're already almost halfway to the cut line. But I think you have better options here, like Gabriel Medina. Man, this guy has been terrible this year. Dead last in points on our power rankings. But if you look at these results, 9th, okay. 3rd, that's great. 1st, that's also great. The guy's a former champ of the event. And I think he's a must-have for this tier. Well, my kid's waking up, so I'm going to have to finish this later. Check you in a few. Okay, I am back, hopefully picking up right where I left off. I've got a gnarly little 2-year-old who was up for some reason, but with some expert parenting, I was able to get him to go back to sleep. Also, not that you asked, but he's getting a baby sister at the end of April. So congratulations to me. Thank you very much. Gabriel Medina, I've got him as must-have in that 3rd tier. Moving on, we've got Sammy Pupo. Guy has not been good this year, but I see that changing here. Remember that Brazilian storm I talked about? 5th last year, 17th the year before. I think Sammy is a solid pick here. You only get 2 picks for this 3rd tier, so make them wisely. Eli Hanneman, I think this could be a great way for him, but he's untested, and so I kept him as some value. Cade Madsen, he could break out here. I don't know. I think Eli's probably a better pick if you're going to go with one of these yellows. David Silva, 33rd and 17th. You don't need that in your life. Kelly, especially with the conditions being bad, I don't see him doing it here. My second pick for Tier C is right here in Kaio Belli. He got bumped real quick in the Sunset event when I had him picked, but I've got him again right here. That third place a couple years ago looks really nice, and the guy is well below the cut line, and he needs a solid finish here. I see him getting it, but I will be watching that opening round because I have a backup third pick, and that would be Cole Hauschman. He has also been dreadful this year, showed so much promise by dominating the Challenger Series last year, has not showed it so far on the Hawaiian leg. I think he breaks out here in a big way, but as of right now, he's that third pick, and there's only 2 in the final tier, so it is what it is. Joao Chianca, man, that would be a great value. He won the event last year, having him in the third tier, but he is still out with that injury. Joan Deroux, man, the guy had a second a few years ago. I just feel like these XCT guys have not had a great track record when coming back, and look, if he lights it up in the opening round, maybe I'd consider it, but I don't think that's a great pick there. Marco and Joaquim, I just think no. So let's review. Let's check out my actual picks. These are, just for right now, and they could change after the opening and elimination round. Just like I told you, I will let you know. Check out that community tab on my YouTube page right here. I will either post the picks or I will make an actual video. Here we go. Katie Simmers is my power surfer. She won the event last year and has looked dominant in beach breaks. Tatiana Weston Webb won the event 2 years ago, was third, I think, last year. She's always solid at this event. Great pick. Lakey Peterson has also been solid here. I like her. Although Caroline Marks is a great pick there. We'll see what happens. India Robinson, I think, is my third tier pick. Look for her to break out in a big way. Moving on to the men, we've got 2 tier A's. This might be a good time to talk about reactive picks. Now, this is something you want to avoid. A lot of times when a surfer has a great event, such as Jack at Sunset, everyone gets all high on them and they think, oh, this guy is just awesome. No, he just won an event. However, in Jack's case, he is my power surfer because not only is he number 2 in the power rankings, but he was number 2 here last year. The only guy who beat him is not even in the event this year. I see Jack doing very well, and I feel like he's a solid surfer in all conditions. John Florence is a guy who I wouldn't say the conditions are great for him, but he's such a good all-around surfer. I mentioned he's having a resurgence, it seems, this year. I feel like he's a solid pick, but as always, I leave the door open to possible changes after these first 2 rounds. Tier B, Callum Robson. You all remember what he did. We already talked about it. He's solid. Griffin Colapinto, great finishes to this event. Won it 2 years ago. Italo won it 3 years ago and 4 years ago. The guy is solid. Brazilian resurgence. These last 4 picks are all Brazilians. That's because they're towards the bottom right now, but that's coming up. The return of the storm. Iago Dora gets better and better at this event every year. I expect that to continue. Gabriel Medina in Tier C. Guy's a world champion 3 times. He's won this event before. Look for him to do well. Break out of that slump. Same with Kyle Abelli. But if I switch off Kyle, I might go with Cole Hauschman. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned for those updated picks. And as always, I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Hit me with all that good, hit me with all that bad feedback. I want to hear how your team's doing. If you did listen to me and you lost, if you listened to me and you won, if you should have listened to me, I want to hear it all. Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.